All right, thanks everyone for joining us this morning. I'm here with head coach Jeff Traylor. Please use the raise hand function to ask questions, and I'll call on you. All right, JJ, get us started.
Jeff, what did you see on film after watching the Texas A&M game?
Our kids played really hard. It's pretty much what I said when the game was over. You know, the punt not being located correctly was not well executed, obviously. I probably should have kicked the ball away from the kid more. That's a mistake on my part as a head coach. Didn't give my guys a good plan there. Defensively, we held up, against the run pretty well. Really proud of how we competed and the effort we gave. And offensively, the 4 drives after the touchdown in the third quarter were just so disappointing. But I was proud of how our kids played hard and in a very tough environment. We learned a lot about ourselves. When you play great opponents like that, the video teaches you a lot.
Jeff, you said you'd be interested to see with the quick turnaround how the group would respond and show up after such a physical game. What stood out to you in that regard yesterday, getting back into things?
Well, we haven't had them, yet. We'll start practicing tomorrow. But they were all there for treatment, and they did all the right things. They're in good spirits, and they're beat up, lost 4 guys, and I think that'll be interesting to see. We had to exert so much energy. And then we've got a really huge game right back again. Those are hard to do, go back to back like that. College football is hard enough as it is, but when you go against A&M on the road one week, kids get sky high, and then we've got Texas State coming to town. It'll be interesting to see how we manage all this.
All right, Caleb.
Coach, can I just get your general thoughts on Texas State as a team? Maybe if you've looked over any film or just your general thoughts.
Well, they were number 5 in the country offensively last year, and they picked up right where they left off. I mean, they ran for over 400 yards. All 3 backs are really good. A&M has the second largest O-line in the country, and Texas State has the largest O-line in the country. So we're my D-line's the fortunate D-line that gets to go against the 2 largest O-line in the country. The quarterback makes them go. I mean, he's a little operator back there and runs with his feet well and throws it. Reminds me of a little young G.J. Kinney running around back there. Both receivers are really good. Those guys they're good ball players. They're going to be a handful. Defensively, and Dex has done such a fantastic job with those guys. They play really hard, and I'm just really impressed with how hard they play. And special teams wise, Coach Burns does a good job with those guys. They play really hard for him as well, and they're another great team. GJ's done a fantastic job over there. Totally out-coached us last year, out-schemed us, and really did a great job.
JJ.
Jeff, how did your team come out health-wise out of the A&M game? Can you give us an update on Cam Cooper?
Yeah, we're not for sure the extent of the need, but he'll have surgery Tuesday, and we'll learn a lot more. It is a season-ending injury for sure. Huge loss for our program. Amazing human, a great football player. Just really sad. Tough loss for us.
Greg.
You had some other guys on that side get banged up as well. What's sort of the overall health of the defense as you head into the new week?
they'll get treatment, and we'll see as we go.
What did you see as far as that pass rush against Texas A&M? What stood out to you in the way those guys were able to perform?
You talking about us rushing them or them rushing us?
Yeah, your guys trying to get that pressure on their quarterbacks.
We didn't really want to do a lot of that. We didn't want to make him pull the ball down and run. So we didn't do a great job of staying in our lanes. But we really weren't trying to create many lanes. We were trying to keep him in the pocket. So I don't know that it's fair to really grade our kids because they didn't have a sack when we didn't really make that the plan.
Back to you, Caleb.
Thanks. Coach, UTSA has really put the belt to Texas State, but over the past, I don't know how many years until last year, they finally got their one win. Has that kind of created more of a sense of rivalry around, San Antonio, or is it just kind of another game? How do you feel?
Well, anytime you get your butt embarrassed as bad as we did last year, it better intensify something or you're not a competitor.
JJ.
Jeff, how would you grade your offensive line's performance in week one?
Except for the one sack we gave up, which, was not a great call by us to play action on first down against those guys when they're as fresh as they were, which was not a good idea. So I'll put that on me as much as anybody else. But other than that one play, we protected him, and we played about as good as you could have for the environment and the competition we were going against.
I was looking at some of the PFF grades, and it looked like Trevor Timmons and Darrell Jones had some pretty high grades. How would you say those guys did in their first time starting as Roadrunners?
Yeah, they were all good. All five of them played really well. I thought Kamar had one of his best games he's had, one of Jay's best games, and Ben had a really good game. All five of them played really well.
Jeff, how much did the weather, specifically the wind, play a factor in the passing game?
Well, whenever you have to kick the ball off and you're already holding it on the tee, you should know the quarterbacks are going to be in for a rough night. And it worked both ways, right? He missed some throws for A&M that were wide open, and we missed some. So when you get the ball up in that area of the field with the wind blowing that hard, to the right, it blew some balls out of bounds. So it was definitely a factor in the ball game, but both teams had to play in it.
Greg.
Jeff, what stands out about Vic Shaw and how he's kind of responding now, having a little bit more of an opportunity with Cam Cooper potentially being out? What did you see from him getting more snaps just in the opener even?
He played hard. He's got a ways to go. He's young, but he's progressing the right way.
How about Don Munnerlin at that position? We haven't talked a lot about him even since he's been with the program. What has he sort of shown you, and how ready is he to sort of step into a bigger role?
Well, obviously he's got to be ready now. We were hoping, he'd be a guy that we could give him about 6 weeks to, get ready and play Cam and Vic. But that's not the way the cards fell. So Don's got to be ready to go right now. We need to get Nana back from that season-ending injury last year to get us some depth there. And but yeah, he showed signs, but he also was green in the game. You can tell he hadn't played a lot.
I wanted to ask about Nana. Is there sort of a timetable for that, or what are your expectations going forward with him?
I would say he's probably, a ways away, but he is trending in the right direction.
JJ.
If I know it probably wasn't a good sample size, but what did you see out of the defensive backfield, specifically your cornerbacks played in week one?
They showed up. I was really proud of them. And we had 3 of them that we thought played, pretty good for their first game against an SEC team. Davin, KK, and old Dangerfield, Jacavian. He was 1 inch away from possibly having the worst run in the history of defense and a total game changer with us having the ball down 21-17 on the minus 15, with everybody on the defense trying to tell him which way to run, and he was running the wrong way. But he played a heck of a game, man. He was great on special teams, and he played really good on defense. I was really proud of 27. He's really coming on for us.
Jeff, you mentioned that stretch after you guys cut it to 21-17. From a coaching standpoint, would you go back and do anything different there, or was it just kind of the way the cards fell with Texas A&M and how good they were?
No, I think we could have done some things differently. I'm not going to sit here and tell you just because I'd rather GJ had to figure that out on his own. But, yeah, we didn't do a good job of play calling during that those four series. The holding penalty was unfortunate. I will say that. That was a big game for us, and I would highly recommend to go back and watch that play and see what your opinion was of it, JJ, and your expertise analysis.
Caleb.
Coach, you and GJ have, experience with like roster turnover year over year, where bigger schools will just like maybe snatch up your best players, or like graduation eligibility, having to rebuild kind of like a defense or an offense from scratch. What's the key to maintaining success year over year? Because with you and your record being like above 500 for the past however many years, you've done a really good job at that. What's the key?
Well, thanks. Relationships. We've got guys that stay here that make a lot less money because they enjoy the city. They like our staff. They like our culture, and they like winning. Robert Henry's a great example of that. I mean, we've got, as GJ does too, we've got quite a few players on this roster that turn down large amounts of money to stay here and play. And obviously, we're not in a situation where we can pay large amounts of money yet. So I would say relationships and how you treat people. And we got a really cool spot here too now. It's a great city. And our kids have done real well once they get through playing. We got a lot of our athletes here in the city still, because San Antonio is a city where you can have a job for the rest of your life. And you can have somewhere you can come back to and be a part of that. And I think that's kind of getting lost in college football right now, is where it's home. Where do you go for homecoming? Where are you an alumni of? Where'd you actually graduate from? Those things still matter. And those relationships in our city and the job opportunities that our businesses have created for our players, I think all that has helped tremendously.
Greg.
Jeff, we got to see Will Henderson be really involved in your offense in this game. What sort of stands out about his growth from last year and how he can expand that role as you continue to go forward?
Just the human that Will is. I mean, Will's a super kid. He's tough. He does what he's supposed to do all the time. Got a great mom and dad back in Gilmer, Texas. Came from a championship pedigree. He actually won a state championship in their 4-minute offense to win the game. I happened to be there, and he's the one that broke a few tackles and executed a 4th down and 6, I believe, maybe 4th and 4, to get in victory formation and win a state championship. He's just wired differently.
Even against an opponent like A&M and the athletes that they have, he was probably a little bit more of a physical runner than a lot of people might have expected. He broke a few tackles and bounced off some guys. Has that been sort of a point of emphasis in his development, or is that a surprise to you at all?
No, the Lord makes those guys. There's nothing Jeff Traylor did for that. That's the way Will Henderson's always been wired, and that's just who that kid is. I didn't make Robert Henry run violent, and I didn't make Will run violent, and I didn't make AP. The Lord makes those guys, and I'm just blessed to get to coach them.
Is there any value as an offensive coach to having guys with a little bit of a different style where he can obviously stretch the field a little bit with his speed, whereas the other guys might be a little bit more between the tackles and more physical?
Robert Henry's pretty fast, Greg. So you like him to be strong and physical and fast, and all three of those guys are that. But, yeah, Will has elite speed, but so does Robert. And I wouldn't want to tackle AP either, though.
JJ.
Jeff, I wanted to ask you about Robert Henry's big game. In the last 3 games he's played, he's showed up big for you. What have you seen out of his growth this year?
It's the fun part about kids that stay with you the entire time is the maturity aspect. Like I told Greg just then, the Lord does make those guys talented. Where we do play a tremendous role in all this is just helping them grow up and helping them mature. And that's the piece I'm so proud of Robert. That's what's got him where he is right now. It's just maturity. And obviously having a child helps mature you. And he loves that boy now. He loves Dante. I mean, that as soon as the game's over, I'm on the bus, trying to hide from everybody. And Robert brings Dante on the bus, and he's just glowing because he's so proud of his boy. And that's pretty cool when you rush for over 200 yards or whatever he had. I don't know exactly what he had against an SEC opponent that doesn't allow that to happen, especially at home. And he was carrying Dante on the bus as protective as he was the football during the game.
Maybe it's the jersey number, but is he physically different? Does he look a little bit like Sincere?
He really worked hard. Philo did a great job with our players. I think our whole team looks a lot different. I think we carry ourselves different. I think we behave differently. And Ryan Philo and his staff deserve a lot of credit for that, as does Paul. Our nutritionist has done a fantastic job. And Robert bought in. 2-1-0 owned. You gotta own your stuff, right? And those guys have done a great job of owning their training off the field.
Jeff, I know you don't believe in moral victories, but to go toe-to-toe with the SEC team, after the game, you said you felt like this team had championship fiber. Is that still how you feel, a few days removed?
I do. And it doesn't necessarily mean wins and losses, as I've told y'all. But there's a certain way it's supposed to look. There's a certain way it's supposed to sound. There's a certain way it's supposed to feel. And when you've been to the mountaintop a few times, which we've been blessed to do, you know what that's supposed to look like. And I've had championship teams. I've had championship fiber teams that didn't win championships. Doesn't mean they weren't champions. They just didn't get the trophy that year, but they were about the right stuff. And I've told y'all my concern was when you play teams as incredibly good as A&M and Texas State, how much success do you have on the field? Because, young men want to be reaffirmed to believe their change in behavior is going to reward them in winning, and I'm trying to teach them that's not why you change. You don't change the inside of your soul for benefits or blessings. Those things come because of you changing the inside of your soul. And we're just trying to change a bunch of young men and their souls right now, and they're really bought into it and owning it.
Greg.
Jeff, you told us coming into the game that special teams might be a point of concern just because of the athletes that A&M has, especially as you go deeper into the roster. Did you come away with any sort of concerns about special teams, or was that just sort of a product of the matchup that there were some challenges there at times on Saturday?
No, we got destroyed. It was the difference in the ball game. So it wasn't lack of effort. And they are really good, but we just got to get better.
Anything else for Coach Traylor? All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank y'all, man. God bless. Birds up.
Thank you, Jeff.